YTI began as the School 12 program at the Yonkers Public School on Ashburton Avenue, School 12. And it was started by the Yonkers Community Action Program, which was headed by Miss Alice C. Scott in 1971. She was familiar with Mr. Jimmy Hill as a musician and as a leader of music programs in Tuckahoe at Tuckahoe Eastchester Cap. And she was familiar with my work as a drama instructor for YCAP during the summer of 1971. And she decided to have an after-school program in the community at School 12 for young people to go to after school hours between 4 and 6 p.m. So Mr. Hill was brought in by Ms. Scott as the director of the program. I was brought in as the drama instructor. And Terry Brandon, Turhan Van Brandon, was brought in as the program coordinator. So the three of us got together, Mr. Hill, Mr. Brandon, and myself, and we founded the School 12 program. Since we were all artists, Jimmy Hill, a renowned jazz musician, I was a theater student at Sarah Lawrence College. Terry Brandon was a brilliant graphic artist and videographer and photographer. We decided rather than having an after-school program of basketball and maybe arts and crafts, we would combine our talents and have an after-school program of the arts. So Mr. Hill taught music, I taught drama, Terry taught photography. We added a young lady named Joanne Harris who brought in African dance. And from 1971 to 73, we really grew. And we were so successful, we did a lot of touring throughout the city of Yonkers, and we were known as the Yonkers Youth Theater of the School 12 program. We were funded by the Yonkers Community Action Program, which got money from New York State, which got their money from the federal government. In 1973, the money dried up, and we were going to just cease this wonderful 2-year program, which had incorporated, over 150 young people in the community in all of the arts programming and touring and dance and music and theater. It was just going to come to an end. But Mr. Hill and Mr. Brandon and myself couldn't let that happen. So in December of 1973, December 20th to be exact, we incorporated as Youth Theater Interactions Incorporated. And by the time our first year rolled around in 1974, we had raised $57,000, and we were on our way. During the course of the first 5 years of Youth Theater Interactions, our artistic excellence allowed us to appear at Lincoln Center for the Performing Arts 6 times. 1974 at Alice Tully Hall, Lincoln Center was The Prodigal Son. 1980, we did the Mime Time Players at Lincoln Center Out of Doors, again in 1981. So the Mime Time Players, which was a very important aspect of Youth Theater Interactions, got to perform in the first ever Lincoln Center Out of Doors Mime Festival. And this was also the first company of professional African American and Latino mime artists. So the Mime Time Players have a real important place in the history of Lincoln Center's Out of Door Theater Festival. 1981, we had a tour to the city of Los Angeles for 7 days, and we were invited to represent the youth of the East Coast at the South Central Los Angeles Folklife Festival. Again, that was the Mime Time Players. So I'm very glad to have seen and worked with the history of those artistic achievements, and YTI just keeps doing it, just keeps on keeping on.
YTI, when it started, I was younger, and when he started, Kwame kind of reminded me that I jumped right in there with him, and it was the Crystals. He said I was the head of the singing group. So, got a few years on us now, so I didn't remember that. But I do remember, after I thought about it, just wanting to be a part of something that started really small, but it just kept growing, and more kids and parents came to check YTI out. So Dad being a part of that between my sister and I, we were very proud of him. You know, that was Dad. You know, I couldn't wait to be 18, of course, so I could go and hear him at the nice nightclubs with his music. But when it came to YTI, it was children. And children are our future. So he always just loved them and was there for them.
After my military career and came to YTI, I used what talents I did have to try to promote YTI. Now I did graphic arts, I did the visuals with photography, and when we started with the video, I got busy with the video. It gave me additional training and kept me in the arts that I like to do. And it gave a benefit to YTI. And for a period of time through YTI, I was a member of the Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. And being able to, and exposing myself to YTI through going down to Alice Tully Hall and the Lincoln Center and the United Nations and Channel 13 and other different arts organizations, was to my benefit. It gave me more experience.
I became board president when Mr. Hill asked me to do it. The board was not well formed at the time, and we needed to be able to state that we were a board in order to receive grant money. I agreed. He said it would be temporary. Of course, it wasn't temporary. It lasted many years. I forget how many, maybe 20, maybe a few more. It was still a fledgling operation when I became involved with it. There were classes, there were field trips, and there was something that was called Intimate Realities, which was a cooperative venture between YTI and the Westchester County Health Department. The Health Department provided the information, the medical information about HIV and AIDS infection. And YTI trained the young people in the dramatic arts and how to bring this information to the community, particularly to young people in the community. And that's what we did. We formed this touring group. Just watching the kids come in and grow and have such a good time learning the performing arts and becoming more aware of themselves and able to stand up to the pressures of their everyday teenage lives just by virtue of being in this organization and being tutored and counseled by Kwame and the other staff members. It was wonderful for me to watch and to be a part of.
These past 45 years have certainly brought so much to the community, to the growth and development of children. And I don't want to be cliche, but the children are our future. And I want the program to continue to be sustainable for our community. The community's changing and growing, so we need to grow and change along with the community. So I'm looking to be a part of the growth and the movement and expand as much as we can. We need to have more students, we need to have more of the young growing men here in the program. So I really think it's important to have programs and outreach that will draw attention to the young males of today.
YTI for me as a kid was an amazing experience. I was a shy, quiet kid until I started taking acting classes, and I think it was there that I really discovered what my passion in life was, what my other personalities, so to speak, would be, and I learned how to pay attention to things that were important to me and to pay attention to what my spirit, so to speak, was telling me. And I think that's something that I would not have learned anywhere else. I was not an athletic kid by any means. So the experience that some kids get with sports, I got here at YTI.
With the new board that we have, we want to just go out there to the communities, go out there to the schools, get the young kids, all kind of races, so we can show our experiences that what we have here at YTI. Because it's just not just a program. This is something that's, we have real good instructors to teach the kids the proper way of how to do theater and African dance and hip hop and ballet.
Well, as a parent, it's quite easy. I mean, certainly watching your children grow, watch them take in the ability to use their voice, to use their body, to use to find themselves in a performing arts program that has given them a lot more confidence, given them a lot more emphasis on being seen. I think that is very fulfilling. And of course, as a board member, it has been wonderful to watch not only your own children, but the organization itself grow. And in my 20 years experience here, we've been able to move from one location to the current location we're in, and that afforded us a whole new group of or population of children. But probably more importantly, it gave us more ability to have the skill of using larger spaces and expanding our performance because of the space.
I would like for everyone to enroll their children into the arts, especially if they're having trouble with their grades. Sometimes it can just be about finding a way to express themselves. Through the arts, you're able to express yourself. YTI is a great opportunity because it actually caters to those of us that are low income. Just come check it out for yourself.
Both my daughters have been attending YTI for 4 years. They've taken every class during the summer program. They offer every class, so they've tried out every class, but their main classes are drama, vocal, and intimate realities. My oldest has come out of her shell a lot more. She has more confidence. She's more open with me now that she's taken the classes, and I think her and her sister have grown closer because, I mean, it's not like they weren't close before, but now that they're in intimate realities together, they run lines together, and they just seem to understand each other a little bit better. So it's been nothing but good.
I would like to see YTI continue to grow. It's a new day, it's a new dawn, it literally is. With the social media, with Facebook and Instagram, it's just a different world. And actually the young lady that replaced me was an alumni of YTI. When I was here, she was a senior in high school, she went off to college, became a teacher in New York City Public Schools, and she had always wanted to run YTI. So she actually ended up coming here and becoming the executive artistic director. So I want to see the new generation represented here. I want to see YTI take off and soar because there's so much here, there's so much richness, there's so much fullness, there's so much to offer, and I think it's important that our children have a voice, and I think YTI is that voice. And what Kwame and Mr. Hill and Mr. Brandon set up many years ago in 1971 and then incorporated in 1973 was relevant for that time. And I think as we go, it's important that we continue to grow and continue to expand, because there is something here for everybody of all ages. I just think it's a wonderful place. It's a safe haven where children are free to express themselves, and I want to see YTI still do that as far as the arts go. It's so relevant, and the organization is amazing, and when I came in here from the first day, I knew this was something that I had to really be a part of.